Welcome to requirements. After watching this video, you will be able to describe the steps of requirement gathering process, explain the purpose of user requirement specification or URS document, explain the purpose of software requirement specification or SRS document, and explain the purpose of system requirement specification or SysRS document. Requirement gathering is a 6-step process of defining a problem to be solved and documenting how to go about solving that problem. These steps include identifying stakeholders, establishing goals and objectives, listing requirements from the stakeholders, documenting the requirement, analyzing and confirming the requirements, and prioritizing. Generally, the stakeholders work for the organization that requests the development of the software product. Key personnel from the organization may include decision maker, end user, system administrator, engineering, marketing, sales, and customer support personnel. It is good to have a representative from every group that the product affects. The goal of the product should be clearly defined. Goals are broad, long-term, achievable outcomes. Goals can include customer outcomes and business goals. Next, objectives should be identified. Objectives are more specific than goals, and they are actionable and measurable actions that achieve the stated goals. The next 3 steps, listing, documenting, and requirement confirmation, are usually completed iteratively. A elicitation can be accomplished through survey, questionnaires, and interviews. As the requirement emerges, they should be documented and checked to ensure they align with the goals and objectives. Documented requirements should be easily understood by stakeholders and the project team. In order to confirm the requirements, they should be analyzed to ensure consistency, clarity, and completeness. After the analysis, the requirement should be shared with and approved by the stakeholders. After confirmation, requirements should be prioritized. Labels such as must have, highly desired, and nice to have are helpful. If possible, order the requirement within those categories. Typically, there may be 3 documents that result from the requirement gathering process: software requirement specification or SRS, user requirement specification or URS, and the system requirement specification or SysRS. The most common of these is the software requirement specification. The software requirement specification or SRS is a document that captures the functionality that the software should perform and also establishes benchmark or services level for its performance. Parts of an SRS include a purpose statement that contains the intended use of the SRS, its audience and scope, constraints, assumptions and dependencies, and requirements, which can be sorted into 4 categories: functional requirement, external requirement, system features, non-functional requirement. The product's purpose describes who will have access to the SRS and how they should use it. The scope describes the benefit of the software, its goal and objectives. The second part of the SRS should detail constraint, assumptions, and dependencies. Constraints describe how the product must operate under given conditions that may limit options in the design phase, such as conformation to standards or hardware limitations. Assumptions may include things like a required operating system or hardware that is needed by the software to function. Dependencies on other software products should also be noted. Requirements can be classified into 4 categories. Functional requirements are those that cover the functionality of the software. External requirement is a requirement that addresses the behavior of the software in relation to external entities such as users and interaction with other hardware or software. System features are a subset of functional requirements. These are required features for the system to function. There are also non-functional requirements such as specifying performance, safety, security, and also some quality standards. User requirement describe the business needs and expectation of the end user from the software system. The user requirement are written as a user stories or use cases that answer 3 questions: who is the user, what is the function that need to be performed, why does the user want this functionality. User acceptance testing determines if these requirements have been met. Often though, software requirements are combined into a single SRS document. The SRS details the expectation of the software system. The system requirement specification document or SysRS, to differentiate it from the SRS, clearly outline the requirement of an entire system. The system requirement specification is often used interchangeably with the software requirement specification, but the SysRS is actually broader in the scope than SRS. Many software projects develops an SRS rather than a SysRS. The SysRS contains system capabilities, interfaces, and user characteristics. It may also include policy requirement, regulation requirement, personnel requirement, performance requirements, security requirements, and system acceptance criteria. It also outlines expectation of the hardware needed for the system in addition to software requirements. In this video, you learn that the requirement gathering process entails identifying stakeholders, establishing goals and objectives, and eliciting document, confirming, and then prioritizing requirement. The SRS documents functional, external, system, and non-functional requirements. The URS documents user stories, and then prioritizing requirements. And finally, the SysRS documents system capabilities and acceptance criteria and policy, regulation, personnel, performance, security, and hardware requirements.